everyone, welcome back to Vercadia. I finished my sweater. For anyone that didn't watch our last vlog, I've been working a really long time on trying to perfect my heart sweater pattern. The original design is still free to read on my blog and will continue to be for the foreseeable future. In fact, it's going to be a long time before I'm able to fully test out this pattern and offer an updated version. But I felt like there were several improvements I really wanted to make to the original pattern, and I was really struggling to figure them out, but I think I finally did it. For example, the original didn't have the stripes extending all the way into the sleeve, and I really wanted to redesign the pattern so that it could go out infinitely without breaking up the pattern in any way. The original was also more of a cropped sweater style, and I really wanted this one to be longer in length. And overall, I just wasn't really happy with the way the original pattern sized up to larger sizes. But in comparison, I'm much happier with the way that this one is turning out. I think there's a few more adjustments I want to make to it, but otherwise I'm going to start experimenting with larger sizes and just ensuring that everything scales up the way that I intended it to. And I think I'm going to debut wearing this sweater to my book club later this week. Speaking of which, I have so much going on, I think I'm going to extend this video to cover the next 2 weeks. In addition to everything I'm juggling with Vercadia, I also have 2 book clubs coming up. I also volunteer with my local library, so I have a library meeting to attend, as well as 2 library volunteering shifts as well. And then next week is actually my birthday. I feel like everyone I meet in real life is always so confused about my age. So if you don't already know, go ahead and guess in the comments how old you think I'm turning for my birthday. But if you already know how old I am, don't play because that's not any fun. And as always, if you enjoy this video, give us a like, comment, or subscribe, or follow us on social media to stay updated with everything happening in Vercadia, including when this pattern gets released. Okay, let's go. Okay, so we're taking off work a little bit early today to go to one of our book clubs. We're in 2 book clubs right now. One of them, which is the one we're going to right now, is just a silent book club where you can bring whatever book you want, and everyone kind of does their own thing. And then next week we have another book club where every other month we all read the same book, but this month it's a choose your own adventure, so you get to pick your own book according to the prompt. This month's prompt is like in or around water, so I ended up choosing Tress of the Emerald Sea. And obviously I did not read the synopsis of this book very carefully because, joke's on me, it does not take place in or around any water. It's actually quite the opposite, where the sea is full of spores that cannot get wet. So it is comically not to the prompt at all. But I've just decided to double down anyway because it's too close to book club to switch to another book. I'm only about a third of the way through, so I'm hoping that I get some good reading in tonight and I'm able to finish this by next week. So fingers crossed. Okay, so we are back from book club and we had some dinner, but I did not get nearly enough reading done at book club tonight. We were a lot more social than we normally are, so I think I'm going to end out the night with making a nice hot cup of tea, getting cozy, and reading for a bit before bed. Okay, welcome back to the office. We are going to work on some new patterns for the blog. I am also continuing with the Halloween garlands that we started designing in the last vlog, but I also wanted to start some new patterns today that are more focused on quick and easy projects, which is something that I feel like overall the blog is still kind of lacking. I feel like historically I've focused on mid-size amigurumi projects, particularly ones that come in 3-part sets. And I do feel like Vercadia has somewhat of a void in terms of small solo projects. So I've decided to try to give some more attention to those types of projects to see if they're of interest to people. And with that inspiration, I've already completed 3 projects that I think are worthy enough to be on the blog. And the first idea I had is actually this hair accessory I'm wearing. So by far the most popular pattern on our blog is the flower garland, which is pretty comedic to me because the flower garland came about because I was in between 2 larger projects, and this was back when I had the very lofty goal of getting a pattern out every week, which is insane. Don't do that. But for the first year or so of Vercadia, I was doing that. I was putting out a pattern every single week. And yes, I did deal with some burnout after that. But at the beginning of Vercadia, the blog was very empty and I wanted to beef it up as soon as possible. Things were really piling up, I was running out of time, and I figured I just need to get some small patterns out there to try to make up some of this time I was losing so I could get back on track for my next series of amigurumis. So during that span of time is when I ended up releasing my flower garland, my sunflower garland, and my strawberry bookmark set. And again, these were small projects I was doing compared to everything else at the time, so I didn't think they would get much traction, and it was really just to save myself some time and get back on track. And now, years later, my flower garland is still the #1 pattern every month on my blog. Come to think of it, my strawberry bookmark set is probably #2 most months as well. I mean, it was kind of a good lesson to learn. You can't really anticipate what's going to take off with people and what's not. But anyway, I was looking at that pattern the other day and thinking, this would look so cute as a hair accessory. I did have to play around with the gauge. This is obviously smaller than the original motif is, and I had to experiment with the string and the leaf placement. But overall, I mean, I would wear it. I obviously have really long hair, so I feel like I could lengthen this chain and add more leaves so that it's like a vine going through my whole hair. And I think it could be fun to play around with the instructions and have it customizable to whatever length of hair that you have. But yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm biased. Let me know if this is something you would add into your wardrobe. After I finished this, I wanted to get back to my amigurumi since that's where I normally live. And like I said, most of my amigurumi I consider sort of mid-sized projects. All the cuties and pocket pets I have on the blog, I want to say are roughly 4 to 6 inches in height. I wanted to play around with some projects that are more like 3 inches or so, more like keychain size. And I wanted to start with just a simple shape just to make sure I could actually work in this size range. So I started with a simple heart shape, and I think it came out pretty well. I based the construction on my heart cutie. So I actually feel like this pattern was pretty easy to produce by just scaling down something that I've already done, which then led me to look at some of my other patterns to see which other ones could be easily scaled down to a miniature size, which led me to making a little ice cream cone, which I based off of my ice cream cutie. With the success of these two patterns, I think I'm going to look at more of my full-size cuties and see if I can scale more of them down into a keychain size. And I think they'll be worthwhile additions to the blog because I actually used my scrap yarn for these, which is why they're the same color. So I think I might market them as scrap busting projects. But yeah, let me know what you think and if there are any cuties that you want to see in a miniature size. And in the meantime, I'm just going to get right back to designing. See you later. Okay, we just did our civic duty and voted, and now we need to stop by the library so I can drop off a book. We're also probably going to go to a used bookshop, and then I'm only 2/3 of the way through the book that I need to have finished for tomorrow for book club. So I'm going to have to find some place to go and finish reading that book so that I don't show up and make a fool of myself. But anyway, yeah, let's go. I think at this point I'm probably gonna have to read all night to catch up. Oh my god, look at how big they are now. Okay, it's well after 1 a.m. now, and I just got to part 6 of my book, which is the last part. But there's still well over 50 pages left, and I think I have to call it quits for tonight because I am falling asleep. So hopefully I'll find some time to finish up before book club tomorrow. But for now, good night. I'm taking this with me. Excuse me. it's my birthday. I'm going to be making a tiramisu-like dessert. I actually was under the impression that it was a proper tiramisu, but egg on my face. Actually, there's no eggs in it at all. So apparently a proper tiramisu has eggs whipped into it. So don't come at me for this not being proper tiramisu. This is going to be my own rendition of it. So this is actually going to be an experiment in general, because the last tiramisu dessert we made for Danny's birthday came out way too wet. So I'm actually going to experiment this time with not dipping the cookie part in coffee and just mixing like espresso powder in instead for that coffee flavor. But Danny actually has the magic fingers when it comes to cooking and baking, but I want to challenge myself to see if I can make it this year. So just do your best not to judge me. I need a cup of heavy cream and to whip it. What does that mean? What's whip it mean? How do you turn it on? Joey's in the kitchen, don't freak out. Joey's in the kitchen, don't freak out.
Turn on low.
For how long?
Until we have peaks.
Wait, really?
Mm-hmm.
Just cream?
Start with
No butter or anything?
butter?
I don't know. Is butter not what you put into it to whip it?
I mean, butter's made from cream.
I'm so
if you
confused.
Whip this too much, it'll turn into butter.
Okay, so just... Okay. Okay. Can you check it for me? Is that right? I did not like whipping. That was scary. Help. Is this cheese?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was cream. So it's a cake of cheese? Weird. Okay. I'm killing it. Now what?
You're going to mix that until it's well combined.
Mix it? But it's so thick.
It's loud, but if you turn on the beater and push it against the side, it gets all that stuff out.
Nice. That's good. What's this for? I dare say that looks pretty good. Look at how good those fit in there. Ta-da! I don't know. I think with my skills, that looks pretty good. Why is this somehow the scariest part? I did it! Okay, you can come clean up. Okay, so we finished up with the tiramisu, and now we are going to go to a thrift store very fast before they close. I'm learning my lesson for the 20th time probably, that if I don't take a break, my body will take a break for me. We've been going and going these past 2 weeks or so that I think the exhaustion and sleep deprivation just really caught up to me, and I've been not feeling the best. So a lot of my lofty birthday plans kind of went out the window, but it's okay. We're going to make the best of it and go to a few thrift stores this week, which is one of my favorite things to do. So we have like 45 minutes until they close. So we're going to go there, and then we have some gift cards for fast food, and we're going to get a couple burgers and take that home, and then spend the eve of my birthday watching my favorite horror movies. So yeah, fingers crossed my birthday luck comes through and I find something good at the thrift store. Okay, so I think that there was some birthday magic going on at the thrift shop, but I think Danny stole it from me because a few weeks ago we were at a library sale, and we found the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but the extended editions, and Danny picked it up and then put it back and decided not to get it. And we've since watched Lord of the Rings, and she expressed really regretting that decision. And then almost comically, we're standing in the middle of the thrift shop looking at the DVDs, and someone just comes over and places the full box set of extended editions right in front of us. But the shop has closed, so that's all the thrifting we can do tonight. But I think Danny has a thrift day planned for me later this week, so I'm looking forward to that. But for now, we are going to go get our burgers.
Can't believe I found the extended editions.
I'm so happy for you.
Blu-ray too.
No tomato. Pickle, lettuce. Is extra onion? More? Yes. Mustard. No ketchup. Is cheese extra? Cheese is extra. Burgers. Burgers.
What sides do we want?
We're getting sides?
Oh, dipping sauce, barbecue.
Yeah.
Who
do you think I am?
For barbecue?
Yes. We're eating good. Protect this card as you would cash. The food is secured! And because I never got to have one as a kid, Danny got me one of the crowns. So now we're gonna go home and watch a scary movie and eat our burgers. Wee woo, wee woo. Royalty coming through. Honestly, what more could I want for my birthday? Okay, it is another day of thrifting. It is another chance to find that one elusive book missing from my collection. I kind of feel like thrifting is my version of the lottery, except with a much higher success rate. We're gonna go to a thrift shop, 2 used bookstores, and then an antique shop. So cross your fingers for some birthday magic for me. Okay, I think we're finishing up for today. I did not find that elusive book. I do have a Goosebumps collection, like the original run from like the 90s, and I found one of the books that I'm missing from that. I also got some sandals for summer since I don't own any sandals. So those were the finds today, but we're gonna go thrifting again tomorrow. So hopefully we will find some good finds tomorrow too. Look at my sparkles. Okay, it is day 3 of thrifting. We are casting a wider net today. We are going to go to 2 different counties. What are you doing?
$3.69.
What?
$3.69.
Okay, sorry about that. We were passing a gas station that had gas for under $4 a gallon, so we had to pounce on that and join a long queue of cars waiting to get gas there. But anyway, we're gonna go to more thrift stores today, although we will still go to one used bookstore. But fingers crossed that my birthday magic finally finds me, although at this point I feel like we are just going to so many places that statistically the odds are just going to be in my favor anyway. But if I find a good find, I'm still going to interpret it as birthday magic anyway. But yeah, this is probably the part of the video where we cut to me hours later looking really disappointed. Just kidding, I wasn't disappointed. We didn't get home till like 10 p.m. last night, so it was really late and I didn't want to film what I found, but I'm considering this guy to be the birthday magic find. Not only is he super cute, but I did just recently find his buddy at a different thrift store a few weeks ago, so now they're like a little pair. Plus, when I took him up to the cashier, his tag wasn't scanning right, and the cashier gave him to me for $3, which was a whole dollar less than his price tag was. But anyway, I also found this like pink fluffy stuffed animal, I guess. I don't know what the marketing for this was because it doesn't have a face or anything, but I thought this would be a really fun project to turn into a bag. I was thinking of opening one of these seams up and sewing a lining for the inside and then adding a zipper and D-rings and then attaching a strap and then make it like a crossbody bag. And then I also found these two frog beanie babies for like $1 each. And I thought I could do something similar and open up their back seam and add a zipper and a little pocket on the inside. And then I can use them for stitch marker or safety eye storage. And then similarly, I also found these Beanie Baby worms. And one of them was even still in the wrapper from the fast food place from like the 90s, which I guess isn't really gonna have any purpose for me, but I thought it was a really fun blast from the past. But I don't know what kind of sickness is in me that when I see multiples of the same object, I just want to collect them for some reason. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to use these for yet, but I thought they were really cute and they kind of remind me of my parents and how they used to collect Beanie Babies when I was little, because they, like everyone else, thought that they were going to be really valuable collector's items in the future. Instead, he's going to live in my DIY bin to be upcycled. Other than that, I found a few used books, but that's basically our haul. I think I'm going to spend the rest of the weekend relaxing, watching some more horror movies, and doing some fun crafts. One of the downsides of being a crochet designer as a job is that I rarely get to crochet as a hobby anymore. So I wanted to try really hard this year for my birthday to actually dedicate some time to crocheting that's just for leisure. So no plans for putting it on the blog or monetizing it in any way. This is just for me. And that gave me the inspiration to do a Mosaic Crochet wall hanging, because I do have one Mosaic Crochet pattern on the blog, which is the strawberry bag, but it was never as popular as I anticipated it to be, which is totally fine. But for that reason, I never had an excuse to do another mosaic pattern, since they do take a lot of time to plan and execute, and I could never justify spending that much time on a pattern if there wasn't going to be a return for it. But I do really miss designing for Mosaic Crochet because I really enjoyed making that strawberry bag. And I also made a mushroom one as well that never made it onto the blog because the strawberry bag never took off. But since I've been designing some Halloween themed patterns recently and I've been doing a horror movie marathon for my birthday, I decided to stick with that theme and do a Halloween themed wall hanging. So I had this idea a few nights ago and I've been mocking it up in an app that's meant to design like cross stitch patterns, but it worked really well for this application as well. And at first I was starting out with a haunted house illustration because that's what I was most drawn to, but I felt like the haunted house by itself wasn't very visually interesting and it needed more horror elements. So I ended up doubling the length of it and adding a whole foreground to it with like graves and pumpkins and such. So once it's all put together, it's sort of a 3-part illustration. It's got the grave in the foreground and the jack-o'-lanterns in the middle, and then the haunted house is in the background, which is still my favorite part of the whole thing. But I feel like you get the full context of it being a haunted house from the jack-o'-lanterns and the graveyard in the foreground. But the graph is sort of meant to be a rough draft because I wanted to add in some special stitches so that it evens out some of those like corners and such. So I'm still very much designing this as I go, but we have almost the entire foreground done already. I think this bottom part is going to be the most different from the graph because I really had to problem solve and experiment with getting some of these shapes right. Let's just say there was a lot of tearing out involved, and I'm really glad that this is just for me and I don't need to translate this into a pattern for anybody else. I'm not sure how much time I'm going to have to work on this after this weekend since it is a fun project. So I'm not sure what the timeline looks like for finishing this, but when I'm done, I'll be sure to share the results. And I think that's it for this video. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my birthday weekend, and then it's time to get back to the real world. If you enjoyed this video, click that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Bye.